This after a fiery conversation over race. Sharon Osbourne having it out with her co-host following Piers Morgan's attacks on the Duchess of Sussex, Meghan Markle. Here's part of it.
I will ask you again, Cheryl.
Yes.
I've been asking you during the break.
Right.
I'm asking you again. And don't try and cry, because if anyone should be crying, it should be me. This is the situation.
Yes.
You tell me where you have heard him say, educate me, tell me when you have heard him say racist things. Educate me, tell me.
It is not the exact words of racism. It's the implication and the reaction to it. To not want to address that because she is a black woman and to try to dismiss it or to make it seem less than what it is. That's what makes it racist.
Wow. It was that don't cry part that just enraged me. Osbourne is issuing an apology. She says, to anyone of color that I offended and or to anyone that feels confused or let down by what I said, I am truly sorry. I panicked, felt blindsided, got defensive, and allowed my fear and horror of being accused of being racist take over. Well, CBS announcing matters relating to last week's episode are under an internal review. So joining me now, Jemele Hill, the host of Jemele Hill is Unbothered podcast. Hi, Jemele. Where do we start?
Oh, you know this, Don, is that only black people, we know exactly how many nerves that we have. And so all 67 of my nerves just stood up and tingled by you just replaying that clip, a clip that I've, of course, by now seen a few times. But that was just disturbing on so many levels. I mean, Sharon Osbourne had a full-on temper tantrum as Cheryl Underwood is trying to talk to her calmly and professionally about a very important issue. And for a lot of people of color who are watching that exchange, we've all unfortunately been where Cheryl Underwood has been before, where you have somebody who is white, who is defensive, feeling attacked over an issue that impacts you. That's what I'm trying to figure out. Why does Sharon Osbourne feel like she is a victim in all of this? The victim is Meghan Markle. That's who the victim is. And so for her to get so outraged and upset, you know, the old phrase, Don, a hit dog will holler.
Well, it was just, here's for me the thing. And look, let's say if someone is, if she apologized, I'm sorry, whatever, that's fine. I didn't see hey, Cheryl Underwood, I'm sorry for the way I treated you, how I spoke to you, that I disrespected you on national television. I didn't see that at all. And the part that got me was, and don't start trying to cry. I'm the one who should be crying, and you educate me. First of all, it's not her job to educate her. And it's not her, she can't tell someone when to cry and when to be emotional. That was but she didn't apologize for that. So if someone apologizes, look, you know when an apology is sincere, right? That was not sincere. And she didn't apologize to the right people. And I think people should be able to have these conversations. Cheryl Underwood and Sharon Osbourne should be able to have difficult conversations with not a degree of honesty, with full honesty. But there must be respect there. And Sharon Osbourne made it all about her rather than the actual act of racism. That's what privilege is. So she was more aggrieved about the possibility that someone might perceive her as racist than the actual act of racism.
Yeah, and she has to understand, too, is that people responded to her support of Piers Morgan because they know that he has been attacking Meghan Markle for years. And it's like her support and defense of her friend meant more to her than actually addressing what was the issue. I mean, nobody, at least from what I saw of the conversation, nobody said, Sharon Osbourne, you're a racist.
No, they all kept saying, we know you're not a racist.
Exactly. So for her reaction to just be on a 10 when it was so unnecessary, and just the disrespect that she showed someone who came into that conversation considering Sharon Osbourne a friend, and then for her to embarrass her on national television, I'll just say this, Don, imagine if the roles were reversed. Imagine if Cheryl Underwood had behaved that way on national television towards Sharon Osbourne. You know what they'd be calling Cheryl Underwood today? They'd be calling her everything but a child of God. And so I just applaud Cheryl Underwood for being able to stay as calm, as collected as she did, because I think it further exposed really the ugliness that was there with Sharon Osbourne.
Okay, so listen. And that's not all. We just played a little bit because there was some cursing going on. She says, I can't be racist because I'm, you know, a effing Jew, right? She goes, how am I going to be racist? And let's get off.
And because she's 68, right?
Right, and she says, I'm 68 years old, and let's get off of this damn topic. It was just, and I was like, wow, imagine doing that on television if Cheryl had done that. Now, listen, so let's talk. We have very candid conversations here. You know, people, quite frankly, white people are afraid to talk about race because in some way they feel like Sharon Osbourne. So how do you allow leeway for people to be able to have conversations and to be able to make mistakes in conversations and possibly say the wrong thing? But I don't know, I guess it has to come from an honest place rather than from a defensive stance. Help me. I'm saying what Sharon said to help me out here, Jemele.
I think number one, and we see this all the time, and I think number one, a lot of white people, I'm gonna need them to get out their feelings. Honestly, it's like if you're trying to have a productive, constructive conversation about race with somebody Black or of color, period, I need you to listen more than I need you to talk. So that to me right there is an indication of your level of seriousness. And understand that it is not our responsibility to teach you anything. I'm not walking you through 400 years of history. I'm not explaining to you everything racial under the sun. That is not my job. So the work, you need to be able to put in some work to even enter the conversation. And if you're not willing to do that, then I can't really take it all that seriously. But this is a frustrating experience commonly for people of color, because when we try to have those conversations, we get told how to feel, what to feel, and we wind up sometimes until we get to a point like I am, where I just don't care anymore. I'm just gonna have to hurt your feelings, where we wind up trying to soothe them, which is exactly, unfortunately, what Cheryl Underwood, it put her in a bad spot where that's what she had to do, where she has to talk calmly and soothe this woman as she losing her mind on TV. And so that's the part that I don't like, is that, again, the people most victimized, oppressed by racism, who have the boot of racism on their neck, also then have to turn into psychiatrists. We have to problem solve. We have to do all the heavy lifting. And the white people just get to sit there and just, as Sharon Osbourne did, have a complete temper tantrum on TV while we're doing all the work.
Thank you. We'll continue this conversation. We'll see. They're on hiatus. We'll see what happens, what transpires, what comes out of this. I don't think it's over. And when I saw that conversation, I said, this is not over. This is going to have far-reaching ramifications.
Yeah, and that, real quick, Don, that's another thing, too, is that they shut down the whole show because of what this woman did on television. So everybody else has to now pay because she didn't know how to act on TV. Another form of privilege.
Yeah, they could have had the conversation in the open where it should be had rather than shutting it down.
Right.
Maybe they will. Let's hope they will. Thank you. Thank you. I'll see you soon.